So we're here at Gravel World Series round number 2, and yeah, we're in Limburg, Netherlands. Thought I'd do a voiceover for this one because there's quite a lot to chat about, and yeah, here we go. At the start, I was actually leading at the start. I could have done with not leading, but I wasn't riding super hard at the start. So we're actually going through the town of Valkenburg now, and we're just about to come onto the Cauberg. So the race goes straight up the Cauberg after a couple of minutes. This is Jonas Rickard ahead of me, and yeah, we are just joining the Cauberg now. Nothing super crazy, the pace isn't super fast, but it soon gets a little bit fast, even though Jonas maybe doesn't want it to go too fast. So already on the Cauberg, the pace is pretty high. You can see Dan Sutter here already wanting to kind of get on with the pace. Yeah, I'm not too fussed about following that wheel. I know that it's a long race, and yeah, he just wants to get on with it. But here you see more guys start to follow, and I slip back in the pack a little bit, which is fine. Doing a little bit less watts than everyone. But yeah, this climb is hard for everyone. Yeah, 3 minutes full gas from the bottom over the top.
Come on, Cameron!
So as we crest here, the speed goes up quite a bit. Yeah, it goes flat over the top, and people start to bunch up. There are actually a few attacks going off the front as well, just people wanting to take a chance and things. But yeah, over the top it starts to block up a little bit, and guys who are actually maybe didn't have the best gridding on the Cauberg, they're moving up. So here you have Lawrence ten Dam on the right hand side, Corny van Kessel on my left. Yeah, it's going pretty quick now, going around the traffic islands obviously, and what everyone is fighting for is position into this left corner. So we're about to turn 90 degrees left and go onto a little bit of a smaller road. So I'm kind of starting to move left to kind of dive bomb a little bit and just slide up the inside, and I'm able to do that with one of the cross riders here. And yeah, story of the day is, if in doubt, if you go around a corner, you're gonna have to sprint super hard out of it. So that's pretty much what it was like all day. But once you're in the draft, once the speed's high, then yeah, you're all good. And already here, you know, we're 5 minutes into the race, 10 minutes into the race, and people are having to go pretty much full. There's no let up here. So I slide up the outside of Jasper Ocklian and onto Sepp van Mark's wheel, and we're going to this kind of more tailwind section, and you see here the speed gets very quick, very fast. All these guys are on road gearing, and they're all really good road riders. You know, ahead of Sepp van Mark is one of the beat riders. Ahead of him is Jan Bakelants, ex-pro rider. So it's a great field. It's super cool to be racing at the front of a bike race with all these guys from across different disciplines. But the gravel is a good leveler, you know. Everyone's got their own strengths and weaknesses, but when it comes to the gravel, it doesn't really lie. You have to put in quite a lot of effort, and that's the same for everyone. So more lefts and rights coming up. On my left hand side here is Marcel Meisen, German cyclocross champ. The cyclocross riders in the front group was quite interesting, you know, like most of the riders in the front group were cyclocross riders. I think the intensity at the start of this race, as you'll see, did suit us quite a lot, and also just the technicality. The first 10 kilometers of the lap were really up and down. Yeah, short, sharp climbs, but then kind of technical descents, and then the other 20 kilometers of the lap were pretty fast, kind of tailwind, cross tailwind, and that suited the bigger riders more. But often they were kind of gapped in this first section of the lap. So yeah, today we did 3 laps of a 30 kilometer circuit, and then if you include the out and back legs, then the race totaled 112 kilometers. So, but it ended up being quite a bit quicker than I thought it was, which was probably a good thing for me. Don't want to be out there too long with my form at the moment, but I can do good intense efforts for 3 hours. But if it gets up towards kind of 4 or 5 hours, then I'm probably going to drop off a bit more. But yeah, I'm just to the right hand side now here of Jan Bakelants, and things are fairly fast here, but there's no real like urgency. We are about to go over a road crossing and then into the first section of gravel. So here we're doing a little road crossing. That's Andy coming up, American rider on my right hand side, because everyone knows that this is where the gravel starts. So we start by going onto kind of farm road gravel, which is super smooth, but it's got this like line of grass in the middle obviously, so it does make it all quite narrow, and everyone is just so nervous about letting anything go. You know, Sepp van Mark's at the front, Jan Backlands is at the front, Corny van Kessel, Jasper's there, and yeah, people are just really worried about how narrow these can be. So this is pretty much a headwind here, which is why no one's really wanting to push, but here you get Jan Backlands attacking here, and yeah, it doesn't really work because right over this brow we come into a left hand corner, everyone takes the corner at the same speed, but there's now going to be a kind of a crosswind, so the wind's coming from the rider right hand side, which is why everyone then kind of slams over to the left hand gutter, but it's about to go into a headwind, so it's really not much stress here, but you'll see that when a headwind comes, everyone really bunges up and tries to move forward, not on the front but just near the front. And you see that now with Jonas Rickard bringing quite a few riders up on the right hand side. So this is really like open farmland gravel, so it's not too technical. There's a few potholes about, but yeah, it's pretty high speed, but with it being a headwind, no one's really getting away. So you see at the moment it's pretty blocked at the front, and I'm a couple rows back, just trying to get some shelter, recover a little bit. We are only like 10-15 minutes into the race now, so it's just kind of keeping an eye on everyone, seeing what's up. But attacks do start to come, as you can expect. No one wants to stay around, hang around too much, so I'm just kind of following wheels here. This did feel like a road race, it's pretty road tactics. Everyone's really fresh, everyone's really wanting to get involved, but as you'll see, we get into the more selected parts of the track, and the tactics aren't so important there. So this is really fast here, like 45-50 k's an hour. David van der Poel ahead of me, and yeah, vision is a super difficult thing in gravel. You're always trying to see around people, and right here we're getting to the first kind of pinch point. I managed to slide up the right hand side on that corner, and now there's only 4 guys ahead of me, and we're about to head into the first narrow section after 8.5k onto this cycle path, and then straight onto this walker's path next to the field, and it instantly just goes single file. So I'm on the wheel of Jonas Rickard and pretty happy with where I'm at, really. It didn't take much effort to get into this position, and I just know that guys 10-20 places behind me are going to be fighting so much to just get in line and get on the wheels. And the same again, it's a battle into the narrow sections, and then once everyone's out the narrow sections, then the pace really eases off. I'm at the front, riding pretty easy, probably 280-300 watts, just blocking the road a little bit, and people are kind of coming back and just waiting for the next person who wants to get on with it. And the next pinch point is the first main descent of the race. Not too technical, pretty fast, but just rough and narrow and just generally selective. So we're going to turn off of this onto more farm gravel tracks, and you'll see it just gets that little bit faster, a little bit more selective, as everyone wants to be first. So I did want to be first on this first downhill, so I come to the front and start. I'm pedaling down here, but Sepp van Mark doesn't really want me to lead, so he comes up, but you see he's just off the crown of the road. He's a little bit too far to the right, so he's not really got the most grip, and he's having to brake, so he kind of backs out of it, and I lead down here, which isn't the best descent to lead because there is still a lot of draft. It's not the most technical, but it's a very safe place to be, right at the front. So I'm leading down this fast kind of 55-60 kilometer hour descent. Now at the bottom of the descent, we're going to turn right, left, right, which is also another good reason to be at the front. I don't have to put too much effort out of these corners just to get back up to speed. And as I come around this one, I'm out the saddle for a couple of pedal revs, and I sit back down and chill out and try and recover again, because I just want to be at the front. But Sepp van Mark's not happy with that. He wants to get on with it, so he attacks with Jasper on his wheel, and I think it's Corny Van Kessel or someone who wants to kind of chase that down as well. But I'm chill, you know, there's not much reason for me. We're about to go into one of the harder climbs of the lap, so I'm pretty chill. I know that when we get to the climb it'll be the same for everyone, and the good thing is that it all came back together in the corner anyway. So these, you know, it's two cyclocross riders ahead of me, Dan Sutter and David van der Poel. I know how fast these guys can corner, and it's a great way to close back up gaps. So now we're turning onto the more mountain bikey gravel, and this is the steepest off-road climb there is pretty much in the race. So it's also a bit of a pinch point. As you're coming up in this gully, it gets rootier, rockier, and then right up here it really pinches down. But then as soon as you get over this last little kick and these last roots, it goes pretty flat and pretty fast quite quickly. So already now you're having to go right down through the gears. It's still rough, it's still narrow, you're still trying to look where you're going, but it goes quick very quickly. So it's kind of a cross tailwind from the left hand side here now, so you got to be careful. There's no one like letting wheels go, but I was able to move up here on the kind of sheltered side of the group and just make sure that I'm also back at the front. It didn't take too much energy. I'm kind of riding just as hard as everyone else, and yeah, once I am at the front I can kind of chill things out a bit and take it easy. So, and yeah, I'm on the front here now, which isn't the best, but as you'll see again up here, there's a fight for position to get into this kind of dog left-hander. So yeah, I get swamped a little bit, but I also know that we're literally about to turn into a headwind, so moving up in a headwind's pretty easy. So yeah, returning here right back onto gravel again, full sprint back up to speed, and then we're on the run into the next downhill. So I think I'm in 6th wheel maybe now, 5th, 6th wheel, and just kind of keeping an eye on everyone, making sure that I can get to the front if I want to. And down here I do start thinking, right, this is way more of a key descent. It's pretty windy, pretty technical, so I'm going to start to move up. So I'm working onto this rougher left hand side of the road, and as I'm moving up, the door kind of shuts and I realise, okay, this isn't my descent to lead. I'll let Sepp van Mark lead. So we're heading in here and he's still pedalling, which I was already thinking, right, we are coming in hot, like this is going to be pretty good for us. But already Sepp realises that he's not going to make this corner, foot out, and then he crashes into a bush, and unfortunately he breaks his wrist. So yeah, that's super unfortunate for him, and hope he recovers quick and is back racing soon towards Tour de France and things. But it's just the risks of gravel, you know, everyone knows where they're going, but it is easy to overshoot a corner, overcook a corner, and just put yourself in difficulty. So yeah, I was able to kind of come through from that, and now I'm leading, which means I can just apply the pressure a little bit, you know, nothing crazy. Like when we are riding on the flat, I'm not pushing it, I'm riding just like way below threshold, and then anything that's technical, anything that's steep, I'm just pressing on normally, and I just know that that's putting everyone else in difficulty. So I'm going to actually lead this whole section, which is fine because it's sheltered, so I'm not giving anyone massive draft, but I am just able to ride my own tempo, and I find when I can do that, I can relax and let the heart rate come down while also being able to see where I'm going. So we're into the kind of third technical descent now, and gets pretty narrow. It's pretty high speed though, so there is quite a bit of draft, but down here I'm still having to pedal through these woods, and as we come down through this really fast rolling single track. So at the moment I imagine that the group is probably 20-30 riders strong. There's always going to be splits further back, and I'm happy to be on the right side of them. We're heading along this side of this field now, and as you can see, there's no opportunity for passing or really anything, like any vision or anything. So we're going up this little dig, and then it's another fast kind of fast downhill here. And the route is really characterised by these as well, you know, really fast descent into tight corners off-road. And you can see there just on the right hand side the whole group filing into that. During all of this, Dan Sutter's got onto my wheel and wants to make the most of this situation too, so he presses on here and just pushes the pace. And I'm still in that same, like, so early in the race that I know how fresh everyone is, that I don't want to extend myself now. I don't want to, I don't want to do anything stupid now. So Dan Sutter's gone up the road, and we're now going down the descent to the bottom of the Cauberg. And yeah, down here I can see him up ahead. There's no stress. I'm just kind of riding a good fast pace. I think Jasper comes up here on my left hand side and chases a little bit too, because there is another incredibly tight corner that we're going to turn into, and it right onto the Cauberg. So going super hard on the brakes, all the way down the gears, and then straight into kind of 18-20% gradients on the Cauberg, the tarmac climb that they use in Amstel Gold Race that Tadej Pogačar attacked in this spring. So I'm dropping back the group a little bit at the moment. Dan Sutter's still up there, and then there's two guys in front of me over the top. The pace is pretty good, but I know that everyone in the line is doing just as much work as me, so I'm pretty relaxed about the situation now. And it goes kind of cross tailwind over the top from the left hand side, and we're about to go through feed zone. But yeah, people are still trying to kind of make moves and push the pace a little bit, and you know, I do just follow in this situation. Definitely, that's all the main technical stuff out of the way, so this would be an opportunity to really sit back, get on feel and recover, and I did work that out in the later laps, but during the first phase of the race I was quite nervous of letting anything slip, so I was just trying to be as attentive as possible and as far to the front as possible as well. So more kind of farmland gravel, always turning left and right, dealing with the crosswinds and the terrain as well, and just making sure that everything is smooth and stuff. But here I realise I can start kind of moving back where it's in the group. We're about to come up to another tight bit, but I've already ridden the tight bits at the front of the group, and I realise that it's the place to be, but I know how easily I can actually move up in these groups, so I'm pretty chill about what's about to come. So turning right here onto another field path, and I must be in like 8th wheel now, and some really fun descent down here actually. Super fast on the drops, over these routes, down these gullies. A really good course. In Limburg in the Netherlands, my first time riding in this area, but as you can see it's just so lush and pretty and just good for riding a gravel bike. There's not much more fun you can have when you're riding a drop bar bike off-road at like 35k an hour. It's pretty good fun. Kicking out of all the little bergs, these do take a toll, but we are just on the first lap of 3, so just trying to keep an eye on things and make sure I'm shutting down gaps. These road crossings are pretty sketchy, cones everywhere, but later in the laps people knew exactly what they were coming up to. So here's Timo Gielik ahead of me, super strong cross rider and road rider for Alpecin, cross riding and off-road riding on a Crayland First team. And also just there on the left is Ismail, who finished 2nd last week in La Indomable. So he's made the front group. Super strong marathon mountain bike and cyclocross rider, and it's usual suspects in these front group. You gotta have the minerals to be in there, and also the tactics, and he ends up having a really good race, just like he did last week in Spain. So more of these road crossings, and this is the back part of the course now. The clips get a bit kind of disjointed now because my camera does start to run out of battery, but as you'll see, there was still plenty of racing to do. Super fast feed zones, but it was just a hectic race. 3 hours 15 of full gas racing in these fast sections, and I'm glad I was able to show you all the moments from the first lap. But this is getting into the deep of the race, and on the final lap into the kind of hardest part of the track, Timo Gielik launched his attack. I was able to follow with 2 others, and on the Cauberg, Timo Gielik was able to just ride away. I tried my best to get on that train and ride the wheel, but I wasn't able to make it. So it was tough to see him ride away, but I was able to work with Lander locks and still do a decent result as well. So This clip here, you can see the 4 of us that managed to get away towards the Cauberg. This was full now, and yeah, this is the Cauberg. Timo Gielik has already gone through, and I'm just trying to do my best to manage my effort and get over the top of the climb in the best shape possible. So yeah, me and Landerlocks worked together, and then I was able to drop him on one of the climbs with about 10k to go, and yeah, this was then really hard. I know I had a solo chase all the way to the finish line, but I was able to finish, I think, a minute back on Timo. So coming into the arena, Timo Gielik first, me second, and then it was actually Ismail who got second last week. He got third this time round in Limburg. So super fun day out. Just 3 hours 15 of just hecticness and busyness, trying to work with position, trying to look after your bike and your body, keep fueling, all to come in second. So really happy with my shape and how I've handled with these new gravel races and gravel events, and it's been good to be riding my new Specialized crux. It's been the perfect machine for all of this, and happy to finish off here. So here's a little race recap from me, and yeah, hope you've enjoyed the videos, and see you in the next one.
Second place today in Limburg UCI. One better than last week, but totally different to last week's race. Just road tactics, crosswinds, sharp climbs, and I thought my legs were my legs totally dropped off in the second lap, but they kind of came back, and then we went full up the Cauberg on the last lap, and then Timo had a small gap, and then I was working with Lander, and then in the finish I was able to drop Lander as well. So yeah, super happy with that. Another good gravel World Cup.